Welcome back to Strong Mid Card Podcast. It's been about like half a year, almost, maybe, I don't know, but a lot has happened. A lot has happened apparently on the old news front for pro wrestling. So going forward, pretty much this is probably going to be mostly an all audio podcast. Mostly just talking about the larger scale news. As it is, my work schedule is already crazy, and I just refuse to watch anything WWE related. I will talk about the news regarding them because obviously, they're the biggest company in the world, but their product is just not very good. I still watch Dynamite. Sometimes I don't get to watch it live, but I do get to watch it, after the fact, after I come home from work or if I'm off the next day or sometime that week. But I do watch Dynamite. I will have to make room in my schedule to watch the Rampage show, also Impact, New Japan, and all that stuff. Like, I still get around to the news and watching matches from all that stuff. Which brings me right to NXT. Let's talk about NXT because everybody's buzzing about NXT. So we lose about, 13 people got fired, I think, last week. Surprised, not surprised, I guess, if you've been keeping up with everything related to NXT. Not gonna lie to you guys, haven't really been following NXT ever since they went to the USA Network. I just, Dynamite kind of just took over for me. It's just, it's just a show that I'd rather watch. And then, I would watch some matches after that, NXT related, if I felt they were like something I wanted to watch. I think a lot of us just felt disenfranchised with NXT just because it was it was a little watered down from what we were used to when it was just on the network. And then you lose a little bit of that edge. So when it went straight to USA, you kind of felt that the power was kind of shifting over. Maybe a lot of people didn't think so, but a lot of people that have been watching and following WWE for a long time kind of realized that was happening, and that's kind of what we, us here at this channel, we felt it, and we felt less and less compelled to watch it. So I stopped watching it altogether, honestly, but I kept up, and every time there was an important match, I would watch it. Adam Cole match when Finn Balor came back, stuff like that. So getting into that subject, you can't really be too surprised. It's very sad, especially hearing the news that's going on now, especially how they want to kind of go forward with it, kind of like the old FCW days, I guess. Just bring in a bunch of muscle guys and churn them out. I think they hit a stride once when they had Cena, Bautista, Lesnar, and Orton, and I think that they think they can probably hit that again, and they probably could. You never know. Those are four kind of special guys right there, four guys that were leading the charge during that time, the next generation after the Ruthless Aggression era, or peak Ruthless Aggression eras when those guys were coming up. But can they do it again? Who knows, man? NXT kind of became like Ring of Honor, or became like this independent show, indie show, and a lot of smaller guys, a lot of faster guys, a lot of fast style matches that we all loved, and all the takeovers were always great, and they still are pretty good. But it's just like a little bit of the magic left. Also, it's kind of hard to get invested in these characters and these wrestlers, men and women, knowing fully well what's going to happen to them as soon as they go to the main roster. So that, to me, it's like, why get invested? And I'm sure many other podcasts have talked about this. It's like, why even follow along? Why follow along Johnny Gargano? Why follow along Cien Almas, Nakamura, which is still shocking to me that they didn't capitalize on the Nakamura craze, I guess you could say, or he was peak NXT going right into SmackDown. And you kind of felt it after that first episode, like, ooh, this is not going to go good. And WWE always has to put their stamp on something when it gets up to their main roster because people still think Vince is a genius, and obviously he's out of touch. What more proof do you need? All the stands, all the WWE stands, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, both shows are like barely at 1 million, almost right under 2 million. 5 years ago, there were like 4 or 5 million. That's a lot of people to lose in the last 5 years. So it is what it is, man. you got more writers than you have people on the roster, or people that aren't in the show on a weekly basis. It doesn't hold well for that, man. And then the proof's in the pudding. So they dropped the ball with a lot of people as soon as they go up to the main roster. So why even get invested in any of these guys? Because you know what's going to happen to them. Even the female wrestlers. Like, Bianca Belair is the champ, but it's like, what else is she doing? You know what I mean? Like, she's gonna feud with Sasha Banks again. Seen that already. Bayley, seen that already. You know what I mean? For the longest time, people were always touting NXT's women's division, saying that it's the best in the world. Not counting like an all-female federation, because obviously, those federations in Japan are way above what they got here. But as far as like, brands like that, WWE, AEW, all that stuff that were, Ring of Honor and all that they were number one. And for a long time they were, but now, I mean, I don't see any of them as number one, honestly. Maybe Impact, I guess. They probably have the better ones. If AEW has a big, like if you watch Dark and Elevation, they have a lot of females that can come in and out of there, and maybe that they want to sign, but AEW is a slow burn. You got to kind of hang on and see what they do with their women's division. I mean, Britt Baker's the top of the mountain right now. She's not the best wrestler in the world, but she's cut a promo. She's exciting. She makes you want to watch her matches. So, that being said, getting back to this NXT thing, it's just, I mean, it pretty much is going to be a developmental. You have to kind of wonder what's going to happen with the show. Are they going to drop the show from the USA Network? I believe when they first started, they said it was actually costing them money to do NXT, not seeing much reward back, I guess, or according to them, much reward back. So, NXT, the way we remember it, is probably it's not going to be further, how do I say this? It's not going to be what we were used to. So, that part is sad, but, I mean, a lot of changes going on in WWE. It's more of a money brand. It's more of a show. Like, sometimes I feel like they're cutting all these people because, like, if you watch Raw, it's the same people over and over again, right? It's the same characters, the same blah, blah, blah. I almost feel like they're literally taking this, we make TV shows, we make movies kind of whole thing a little too seriously, almost like we only need a certain cast. Like a TV show has a cast, right? Cast of like 9 or 10 people. I think they kind of feel that way, like, oh, this is our show, this is our cast. But it's like, and then, with the writing, and obviously they're writing it like it's a sitcom. None of that shit is funny, obviously. And you got like fucking voodoo dolls standing up on their own, and you got, all kinds of people shooting rockets at Baron Corbin's dick and crap like that. So I honestly feel like they think they're an actual show. But and then there was like a comment a while back that they want to be like the MCU unit or the MCU universe. Like, come on, bro, or Disney or something like that. Like, man, McMahon's been trying to be mainstream as long as I've been born. I mean, I've been watching wrestling for over 30 years, so it's always wanted to be, and it's always had like a little nice flash of mainstream attention, and then it goes away because at the end of the day, it's a circus. It's the carny thing. It's it's something that a lot of the bigger companies don't really want to be associated with. So McMahon wants to be known as something other than just a wrestling guy because he fucking hates wrestling, obviously, and the only thing he's ever been successful at is that. Football sucked, and there's fucking Ico Pro and fucking bodybuilding bullshit, the movies, all that crap. It all tanked. It sucked. So, the thing he's good at is the thing that he hates the most. You know what I mean? So, Triple H gets a little buzz. Everybody starts talking about how the NXT is the best stuff on WWE TV. And what do, right? Cut it down. You cut it down to size. You cut him down to size. Let him know who the real boss is. And I think that's where they're at right now with that. Also, obviously, the AEW thing was a big deal with it. They got their asses obliterated by AEW. Sorry, Stans. Sorry, WWE apologists. The truth is in the pudding, man. They got fucking whooped. And, just seeing a lot of hatred from that WWE side and how much they hate people who watch AEW or AEW fans or whatever, the program, without really even watching it. Almost leads you to believe, like, because, like, if you watch both shows, or, like, AEW's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch. It's fun to talk about it, online and stuff. It's always fun. It's always people smiling. Always people having a great time, getting involved in storylines and all that. And the WWE side is always just anger and angry and fighting back at people who refuse to like it anymore. And people get really offended about that. It's like, you're pointing your anger at the wrong people. Your Papa Vince is probably the one to turn your anger to. All those people, man. Fucking, do you ever listen to a goddamn, the hell's his name, Pritchard's podcast, and just the amounts of bullshit that you could pick out from what he's trying to say and trying to answer? Like, I think he brainwashed himself into believing that shit is real, man. But at the end of the day, the blame is that at the top. If you say you're the best, you say you're the number one company in the world, then the blame should go straight to the top. Stop blaming everybody else, outside sources. Remember, AEW is not competition, quote unquote. So, That's a big factor going into the next few months with no more Olympics. Right before football hits, trying to see if AEW can hold on to that million, the million in weekly viewers, and see if they can make it grow. With Rampage coming on, with supposedly, the next thing I want to talk about, all these signings in AEW, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, rumored to come in, at least at the time that I'm recording this, rumored to be coming in, but it seems very likely. Son Almost already in there. You have Malachi Black, who just made his debut and looks amazing. Buddy Murphy's supposed to be signed. Is it an overload? I believe so. I think they should have never signed Mark Henry, Big Show, and Christian, and it probably wouldn't look so bad. Excuse me. Because now you definitely look like a landing spot. You definitely look like TNA back in the early 2000s, just taking everybody who they let go. I mean, I don't see why they just don't have a second brand open up, like take Dark or Elevation and turn that into a second brand, really, and then you can just kind of sign people and move them in and out whenever you want, at your leisure. Kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. Just have two different brands, AEW. You got your stable, AEW Dynamite, that version of it, and then a second brand. I don't know what you call it. And you have, some of your younger guys there, maybe some of the veterans coming in there to help put them over and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it'll just kind of alleviate this heavy overload of signing so many damn people to maybe justify it a little bit better. Tony Khan's kind of going nuts right now, and I hope he fucking calms the fuck down, because it's way too early to be doing this shit. There's some signings I understand, like a San Almas and like a Malachi Black. I understand. Bryan Danielson, whatever, is one that I understand. CM Punk is even one that I understand. I would have loved it like 2 years ago, but take it now, I guess. The Big Show one, the Mark Henry one, I don't get those whatsoever. The was it the Everrise one? I don't get that shit. The Benoni, I don't get that shit. You know what I mean? So, I'm hoping they don't oversaturate themselves and just kind of keep it afloat, keep it steady. You have the hottest storyline going on right now of Hangman Page and Omega. You don't really want to take too much attention away from that. You still want to keep that at the top with all these signings and new guys coming in, and it looking silly for them not to go in there getting title shots. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. How many people are you going to hold over when all these guys are looked at as top tier number one contender dudes? So the oversaturation is definitely something I'm worried about. Still gonna give it a shot, and I'm sure they have a lot of smart people there that know what they're doing, and just all we can do is just sit there and hope and pray that it doesn't get too bad. Where the fuck is Ring of Honor and all this, and Impact? Sign some people. Jesus, man, take some pressure off. You know what I mean? Sign some people to a 1 year, 2 year thing. That way, in 1 year and 2 years, when AEW needs to transition, now you bring in the Adam Coles. Now you bring in, whoever, some people that hopefully they sign and help build up. You know what I mean? That should be kind of the way that it should go, as far as AEW being the top, or Ring of Honor and Impact right at the bottom, and all three of those guys just kind of signing people to 1 year, 2 year things, or maybe moving people around. That way it doesn't look so saturated and so, WWE guy corralled in there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and they'll relax and realize that they're signing way too many people. Other than that, what else we got? Nothing I could think of really. Impact and the whole Forbidden Door thing. It's a slow burn. Some things are cooler than most, so we'll see. I know New Japan's kind of messed up right now with the COVID thing, and the people being, regulated, and the rules being kind of enforced, and them not being able to have as many shows, with Takagi being the champion and him not having many people to wrestle. That's a bummer, but New Japan always comes back. Just when you think they're out, they always come back, and it's always they're also like a slow burn. A lot of times you think they're falling out of the limelight, and then all of a sudden they come out of nowhere. So I'm definitely looking forward to them coming back. Love the New Japan Strong shows, and that's pretty much all I got, man. If I forget anything, let me know. I'll record it for the next one. This is just a kind of a trial run here, because I haven't been doing this in a long time. So hopefully this isn't too convoluted and too all over the place. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. All 30 of you that listen to this. This is a labor of love, man. Just gotta find time to do it. A lot of news going on. A lot of people asking me if I'm gonna bring this back, and I've been kind of putting it in the back burner, but I wanted to do something. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you for listening. Subscribe and like, notifications, all that stuff. Like I said, leave some comments of anything that I forgot to cover, any questions you guys want to ask or anything like that. And I'll catch you guys next time here on Strong Midcard Podcast. Later.